The San Diego Association of Governments, or SANDAG, compiled poverty data from the U.S. Census Survey from 2007 to 2011, finding more than 387,000 people in the county live at or below the federal poverty level. The situation is especially bad in National City, where 48% of the families there live in poverty. Cynthia Burke, director of SANDAG's Applied Research Division, and Peter Kallstrom, president and CEO of the San Diego Workforce Partnership, are here with the details. And welcome to Evening Edition.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy.
Now, Cindy, when we say 13% of single adults or 9% of families living in the San Diego region are at federal poverty level, what does that actually work out to in dollars or income level?
It's about $12,000 for an individual, just under $24,000 for a family of four. It does vary. It takes into account the size of the family, for example, and there's different measures of poverty also.
Right, and in the different measures of poverty, just tell us about that. There's the poverty level at 100%. That's the numbers you just told us. And what else?
Yes, and then there's 150 and 200, and it takes basically at the most simple level the cost of living in a certain area. So it does, as you go up to the 200% level, more people are in poverty. So there's about 30% of individuals are in poverty in the San Diego region when you use that more broad definition.
More inclusive. Now, your report specified certain cities here had the highest and lowest percentages of people living in poverty. How did you get those numbers, and what were some of the top or lowest rankings?
The range is considerable. So with 9% of individuals, it was from 5% in the city of Del Mar and Poway up to 32% in some of the other cities. Some of the cities that we saw the greatest percentage included Imperial Beach, National City, El Cajon. But I think it's important to remember that when you look at our report, if anybody goes back and looks at it, that it's just the jurisdictions overall, and some of those cities are smaller. The city of San Diego was 15%, but that has a number of different neighborhoods, and I think in any jurisdiction you're going to have some communities that have more or less poverty based in certain areas.
In pockets, and again, as you said, sort of based on the size. San Diego, of course, might have a higher one because there's more people.
Exactly.
I see. Peter, one solution, of course, for helping people to get out of poverty is to have them get a job, but the data showed that 71% of county residents living at poverty level, at federal poverty level, are employed. What's wrong with that picture here?
Well, we have a large, complex economy here, so there's a lot of service-related positions and entry-level positions that just don't pay that well. So, you know, at the Workforce Partnership, we operate the Career Center Network, and people can come for free and get support for getting into new careers as well, training, subsidized training. So we want to be able to help people move on from those lower wage positions onto a long-term career pathway that's going to pay them well and meet the demand of what employers are looking for in our region.
Do you also help them with education? How do you help them actually, if you're in a minimum wage job, let's say, move up the food chain?
The food chain through their subsidized training, so people can come in and qualify for training that will allow them to go into different careers. So there's a whole array of courses that folks can take so that they can improve their skill set and resume, and then move up and on to new positions.
Okay. Congress did not extend the long-term unemployment benefits, and their latest spending bill actually cuts Labor Department funding to programs like the Workforce Partnership. How do you see these changes impacting the poor here?
I don't think it's good, because there's a lot of folks who are working very, very hard to find work, but it's just really hard to find work. There's just only so many positions to go around. The unemployment level has gone down, as we've seen locally, but that doesn't reflect every single person who's looking for work or unemployed. If they've gone beyond the unemployment support, they then disappear from the rolls. They're long-term unemployed.
Counted,
exactly. And so that number of 6.7 can easily be doubled in our region as to what the true unemployment rate is.
Well, Cindy, we know the cost of living here is quite high. How do our poverty numbers, as far as the people living in poverty, compare to the state and federal levels?
They're very similar. I was actually a little bit surprised when we first got in to look at the data, given the cost of living in San Diego. They're about 13–14% as well. And we know that about 28% of people in the San Diego region are getting some type of assistance, and that compares fairly closely to the state and the country as well, as 30 and 33%.
Okay, and I'm going to ask both of you this, and I'll start with you, Peter. Now, San Diego Interim Mayor Todd Gloria wants to raise the minimum wage here in San Diego, and the issue may be on the ballot in November. What, if any, impact do you think that will have on poverty here in this region?
Well, if the minimum wage had stayed consistent with inflation and cost of living from 40 years ago, the rate would be $10.40 per hour now. So we've fallen behind, and that results in people working in poverty. So bringing it up in the most responsible way to get up to a cost of living, a living wage, whatever you want to call it, I think is an important piece of the complex number of things that have to happen in order for us to be able to raise people up out of working in poverty to a living wage. The majority of those who are earning minimum wage or thereabouts are breadwinners, not kids, in their summer job. These are jobs that people have. They're important jobs in our economy.
And what would you think, Cindy, about that as far as, do you think it's going to help in this sort of market where the cost of living is so high?
I think it's a piece of the puzzle, as Peter indicated. We know that 15% of individuals in the region have less than a high school degree compared to 34% of those in poverty. So again, it's part of what we need to do. I think there also needs to be other efforts, comprehensive efforts to keep people in school, to start early, not just when they're already in a job situation, but throughout the life course.
Okay. Cynthia Burke and Peter Kallstrom, thank you so much. There's a whole lot more on our website, kpbs.org. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy.